Hello, good morning. It is the 6th of November 2024, and I just thought I would do a tea and chat. I know it was something I did look at doing once a week and then maybe once a month or once every 3 months. It would be great to get some feedback as to whether this is something anyone who is following me on YouTube would like me to do, or on any of my other social media network channels through YouTube or through another social media uplink. That would be very much appreciated. So usually if I was going to do like a tea and chat, I'd be looking at doing about half an hour to an hour. It would be public. So if anyone wanted me to do something that was more members only or followers only or private, then again, any feedback you can give me would be absolutely amazing. Now, I do like going, and I did like going to tea and chat mornings when I was well enough to do so. I've recently just started a new medication from my doctors and from the hospital. So I'm still very apprehensive about leaving the house and about going out and doing things. I usually have my counselling on a Wednesday morning, and today was really challenging for me because for over the year pretty much that I've been having my counselling with my counsellor, it's been done on the phone, and I liked that. It felt safer, it felt more secure. I felt like, if I wasn't happy with the way the counselling session was going, that I could just hang up. It's a little bit more complicated to just walk out of a room. And I have had face-to-face counselling in the past, and it hasn't always felt safe or secure, or, even today when I was talking to my counsellor online, we did it like this today because she had some diagrams and things she wanted to show me to talk about trauma. And it was really, really helpful to, instead of her saying, I'm going to email you, here is the emails, can you, when you've got 5 minutes, have a look at what I've sent. We were actually able to do this online interaction. So this is a real positive thing about social media. But because the houses near me are being renovated, it was really off-putting because I kept hearing noise banging outside my front door, outside my front window, and I'm there and I'm talking to somebody like I'm talking to you guys now. So hello, if anyone has joined or is looking at joining, or if you're looking at watching this at a later stage, then please feel free to give me some feedback. So what my counsellor has now decided is that we are going to look at doing more in the future. My counselling will be done through messenger link, so like this, which means sadly that my little boy, who I homeschool, will have to be with his dad every Wednesday morning, which originally he was doing because he would go to judo on a Tuesday. But last night it was bonfire night, or bonfire night, if you want to call it that. And we decided to have more of a family event. So we had it at mine, and the house I rent. And he went home with his dad, and his dad said to me, look, I'm going to be straight with you. I'm really struggling with all 3 boys, especially with Brindley's autism. So from now till next week, I'm going to have to devise a plan or help him and the boys to get back more into a structure and a routine so that I can have my counselling. Now, when it's on the phone, it's not too bad. But if I'm going to be doing a session like a tea and chat or a meeting like I am now, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because my little boy, he is very tactile. He is very intrusive. He is not very good with understanding social boundaries. Hello, good morning. So if I was to do any online or any live feeds like I'm trying to do today. Unfortunately, my son can't be here with me, because if he was here, he would be constantly wanting to be on screen. He'd be going, hi, hello, how are you? I'm friendly. Do you like trades? Do you like maps? Do you like planes? What's your favorite hobby? Blah, blah, blah. He'd be picking up, I don't have, like, say, for example, this is one of his toys. It isn't a toy, it's actually a glove. And it's a fingerless glove. Well, it is, but it isn't. That's a lie. No, yeah, it is. So it's both. It's actually a mitten. There you go. It's one of my children's. I've just found it. But it can also be fingerless too. So if my son was here with me today, then he would be constantly putting things in front of you on the screen. So if I am deciding, I'm actually quite impressed that I found these. I like these. And it's got a little button on the back as well. So I'm going to see if I can find the other one now. I don't care about the kids wearing them. I think Crazy Katie's going to start wearing these. I did actually do a video about gloves. I know I'm digressing, and this is one of the things my counsellor did speak to me about this morning. Was it's mirror imaged. I've just realised. So I'm waving my left, and that's my right. But it looks like that's my left, and that's my right. Right. Okay. Yeah, because I've got dyspraxia, I always struggle with stuff like this. But yeah, it's digressing and not really sticking to a certain subject. So sometimes, if I am talking to people, I can only apologize that I'm very kind of like sporadic about the things I do. So it would be nice if we could pick a subject or something people want to talk about or discuss, or want me to talk about or discuss, and then take it from there. But no, I mean, these are supposed to be for children. And one of the videos I think I did do, I'll have to see if I can find it online and share it, was about gloves and how when you're on your phone, which is over there somewhere, you couldn't actually text people whilst you've got your gloves on. So what you can buy is gloves where the fabric on the thumbs and forefingers is slightly different material or thinner, so that you can keep them on and still text whilst you're on your phone. So I'll see if I can find them as well. But again, hats, scarves, gloves, they're always something people buy at this time of the year. And because of my constant problems I have with scratching my skin and self-harming, I do tend to wear gloves quite a lot. I haven't worn them for a while because I've been at home. But my anxiety when I go out in public with people, that is when it kind of becomes more apparent. And then when I'm really stressed, I will scratch, which is why I did stop buying a lot of gloves. And I'm doing it now. Stop. And I started wearing them. But again, for children, I brought these for my kids, especially my son with autism, because they can turn from a glove into a mitten. And one thing I thought after obviously buying these was, what I could have done is bought some older gloves, but then it's very time consuming. I think these only cost like £1 or £2. So again, they're so cheap. But if you were going to make these yourself for your kids, you could literally just buy a pair of gloves, cut the tops off, but then obviously you'd have to sew them so they didn't fray. And this bit, it actually reminds me of a sock. And you could potentially just get a pair of gloves and convert them into a mitten for a child. But again, the good thing about this is, if it wasn't used as gloves in the winter, it's good for a puppet. Sadly, obviously, the monkey has only got one hand or one paw. Or is that the monkey's tail? Right, yeah, so I'm just talking loads of stuff at the moment because there is no one to actually speak to. So you just hook this back on. So again, it hooks on the back like so, which is really good. So I'll probably just keep this on for now. So yes, like I said, I mean, it would be really helpful if I was going to do a morning tea and chat with anyone. What would people want to talk about? What would people want to discuss? So whilst I'm online, one of the things that I've come across again at the house is as people may be aware, I homeschool my son who has autism, and we're still waiting for an ADHD assessment for him, which stands for attention deficit disorder. Is I got him this workbook about technology. Yesterday, we had a bit of a mixed day when it came to homeschooling. He is very technology driven, and I think that's one of the main worries with young people in today's society, is how technology driven they are. And it took me a while to get him to actually do anything, because all he wanted was my phone. And then finally I hooked up the computer for him, and we did what is basically called Bite Size, which is an app that's been produced by the BBC. And unfortunately, he did get quite upset because he was logged into his brother's account, not his. So I do need to sort out the logins for the accounts on the main computer, which is set up in the living room. I do not allow my children to have technology in their rooms. I'm not saying I've never allowed them, but, you know, for safeguarding, we try to, if we're going to do anything technology based, we try and do it as a family, especially because of the age of my kids. And I got him to do some English, and I got him to do some maths, and I got him to do some science yesterday. So yesterday, all in all, was actually a really, really good educational day for him. Now, one of the books that I have brought him is it's a technology activity book. I think this one may have been from the Works. And on the back of the book, it gives you a list of other books that you can purchase from the same company. And there's also a website link. So I will put the website link in the live video, and I will have a look at it today. And I found it really interesting that a lot of these like educational books, one of the biggest worries I think about homeschooling, sorry, I'm just trying to not sit on my top, it's quite long, is the cost. If you do choose to homeschool, there isn't a lot of financial support that I'm aware of in order to do that. There's a lot of online free activities, which is why online has been primarily the way that I've homeschooled my children. And then obviously interactive books. So with this book, again, it's helped to have a hard copy of what I've been doing with my kids and what they have achieved. It's because even though my other two children, go to school, when they bring home homework, most of the time the teacher will have a guide or a book that's based on the national curriculum. And I've seen it a few times, for example, where my kids have come home and just find something for now. So like this is a crossword. And my son will have this in his book bag. So all the teacher, hello, good morning. So all the teacher has done basically is had a book like this that the school have used and printed it out or photocopied it and then given it to all the students to take home and do. So with my son, I don't do that with him. I try to keep the book as a whole intact and then get him to work through the workbook. And then what I then will do is if the national, sorry, not the national curriculum, if the educational officer, let's think of the word then, wants to see any evidence of what my son has achieved or what he's been doing over the year, academic year, I would then photograph this book and then send her a copy via email. So in a way, what I'm doing with my son, although the actual learning material may differentiate between what is in a mainstream classroom based on what part of the national curriculum they're following, because it does differentiate depending on what country you live in. What country you live in as to what children are taught. It also differentiates as to obviously what county you're in and what part of the country you're in as well. Sorry. So that's one of the good things about using BBC Bite Size is it will ask you, where are you based? And then it will ask you the age of the child so they can tailor the educational material that's online to the right key stage level. Because one of the things people were asking me is, if you've got dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, plus mental health, plus a long-standing health problem, which obviously affects you on a daily basis, which all of these things do, how do you then homeschool your child? Well, what you've got to realize is when I'm homeschooling my son, it's done on a one-to-one basis. I'm not in a classroom full of 30 children who are all obviously being pushed to achieve a certain developmental goal, and those that don't achieve it get left behind. So you may have 30 children in the class, and if you were a teacher and you was to say, okay, class, we're going to do this book today. It's based on technology. Please get out your workbooks. And I want you a real, I can't think of the word. A realistic expectation would be you as a teacher, you would have to do what is called a lesson plan. So yeah, I do those for my son as well. And I might say to Brinley, okay, we're going to do technology day today. Here's an activity book. There are 32 pages in this book. And the answers are in the back. So again, I've not got to worry about what the answers are. Providing my reading level will enable me, as his mother, and his teacher, and his guardian, and his support network, to look at the back of this book and understand what he puts down is correct based on the book. I can homeschool. And I might say to him, okay, there's 32 pages. And what I would do is say to him within the next 20 minutes, I would like to see how many pages of this workbook you can complete by yourself unsupervised. So based on the fact that my son is 9, his reading is, I wouldn't say where I would like it to be, but he is able to read just enough to understand how to do this book. I would then sit him at a desk Or if he didn't want to sit at a desk, he gets the opportunity to sit on the sofa, somewhere where he's comfortable that he can read. And I would get him to read the book. Now, in a classroom environment, there's my phone. So I'm going to end it here and probably come back later. Hello? Is it conjunctivitis?